What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live, as always, from a small island off the coast of Costa Rica, here on a lovely Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 7th day of April, 2023. And we have some news from Kobold Press and Project Black Flag. They have announced the official new name of Project Black Flag, and it is Tales of the Valiant role-playing system. I don't know. I like Project Black Flag for the name. Project Black Flag D20. Tales of the Valiant D20. Tales of the Valiant role-playing system. I don't know. Do I get to play a Kobold in the Kobold Press 5e system? Are they aware that there is a Tales of the Valiant and Valiant comic book? There's a comic book company called Valiant Comics, and I'm pretty sure there's a Tales of the Valiant book series. It sounds very pulpy. So I guess they're going for a pulp Conan feel as opposed to the pirate feel that Project Black Flag had. But let's read what it said. Okay. So Tales of the Valiant is the core fantasy role-playing game that builds on the Creative Commons foundation of 5th edition. So they are still acting under the good faith that the Creative Commons that Wizards of the Coast currently has 5e under will protect them next year or until Wizards of the Coast realizes they put it under the wrong Creative Commons. Project Black Flag has taken bold steps to keep 5th edition vibrant in an evolving industry. Since January, Kobold Press and the growing 5e community have worked together to create an open, independent version of 5th edition. Today, we reveal the name of the bold future of the Kobold Press. You've released like 2 playtests. How have you and the entire community worked together? We are writing now. When it's done, it will be based on the new core fantasy role-playing rules. If you're just joining us, Kobold Press is releasing to core fantasy role-playing to everyone under an open, perpetual, and irrevocable license. It's like an STD, but more thorough. TOV rules will be available in 2 books, the Player's Guide and the Monster Vault. The Player Guide includes 13 base classes, lineages, and heritage from classic fantasy role-playing, and the rules you need to play or GM all between 2 covers. The Monster Vaults contains every dungeon-crawling and fire-belching fantasy creature you need to craft compelling fantasy encounters. Or you could just head over to my Patreon or Big Geek Emporium and pick up my Monster Vault, Minions on a Mission, each for $2, up to issue 10 currently, each one specifically featuring one group of monsters, all for $2. So 2 times 10 would be $20, or you could wait to see how much they're going to charge you for the exact same thing. And that's only the start. Tales of the Valiant goes to Kickstarter in May and ships to backers sometime in 2024. During development, Kickstarter backers get an inside track with 2 additional set of playtest material. Sign up now to be notified when the Kickstarter launches and become one of the Valiant. Get notified. Link I have linked below. So, wait, what? Okay, hold on. There's a lot going on in this. So let's just take a break here. Take a breath. See where Steve is? Okay. So last thing first. During development, Kickstart backers get an inside track with 2 additional sets of playtest materials. Does that mean you're discontinuing the public playtest? And the only way for us to continue to playtest is if we kickstart? Because that seems kind of shifty. Well, I mean, I don't want to spend $5 for the privilege of playtesting your system because I already did that with the Marvel Multiverse. Pay us to get the playtest copy nonsense. And that was a disaster. I think we can all admit. I mean, $10 to get that horrible set of rules and then have to just fill out a generic questionnaire every couple of weeks with no promise that when the final product comes out, you'll get it. No, wait, you don't. You still have to pay for it. So I'm going to have to pay you, what, $5-10 to get the privilege of continuing the Kickstarter, which up to now has been free playtesting. But I don't get a free copy of the book when it's done because I'm going to have to pay. No, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. It didn't work with Marvel Multiverse, and I don't think the playtest should just be open for everyone. But okay, that's the lesser of the 2. Let's go back to this. We are writing Tales of the Valiant now. When it's done, it will be based on the new core fantasy role-playing worlds. If you're just joining us, Kobold Press is committed to releasing core fantasy role-playing to everyone under an open, perpetual, and irrevocable license. It's like the SRD, but more thorough. So you're releasing your own core RPG SRD, which I guess is what we've been playtesting so far, and you're also releasing TOV. But didn't you also say you were going to be working under the ORC? In fact, I believe you were one of the very first to say, hey, we're joining up on this ORCL thing from Paizo. We want all future product to be protected by the ORCL. Now are you saying, nope, we're going to release our own core fantasy role-playing? Or is it like a chart, a graph? We've got the ORCL at top. Then under that, we've got core fantasy role-playing. And under that, we've got Tales of the Valiant. Why do I have to buy Tales of the Valiant if you're also releasing core fantasy role-playing, which is basically just perpetuating the 5e license, which is also under the Creative Commons for now? Now, mind you, we don't know what Wizards of the Coast has plans for the Creative Commons for 5e after 2024. I think it's safe to say that Wizards of the Coast is not going to be making any more 5th edition product, because they have already said they're coming out with a new player's handbook in 2024, and they'll be making product under the new finalized, totally backwards compatible, but also totally not backwards compatible rule set once it has a name. It can't be any worse than Tales of the Valiant. I really liked Project Black Flag, guys. But whatever. I mean, I'm just calling it 5e Evolved for now until it comes up with a better name, because it's not 5e, it's not 5.5, it's not 6, it's not 1D&D. It's something brand new. It's a whole backwards compatible, but you still have to buy all new stuff, which means it's not backwards compatible, by the way. But so, yeah, so we have the ORC, which you are no longer going to be making your product under. Instead, you're releasing your take on the SRD, even though you want to fall under the SRD, but I guess you're saying you're not sure what the future of the SRD for 5e holds, so you want to release your own just in case Wizards of the Coast realizes, wait a minute, we put it under the wrong one, and we gave people access to a whole bunch of our copyrighted characters. So, but that's the topic for a separate conversation, which is just a rabbit hole I don't want to go down right now. So, yeah, I'm going to assume, as for now, since there is no ORC, Kobold Press is saying, okay, we're releasing our own core fantasy role-playing Creative Commons SRD that is perpetual and irrevocable, but then we're also releasing Tales of the Valiant, which will be our 5th edition role-playing game based upon the core fantasy role-playing, based upon the Creative Commons of 5th edition, because we want to continue to make 5e adjacent product, since we already have an entire back catalog of 5e adjacent product, and we already had 5e product planned before this whole thing happened in January. So we still got to make those. We still got to support the pre-existing 5e stuff, like the whole Midgard campaign. And then we've also got to make stuff that is both approachable for 5e players who still want 5e stuff and don't want to jump on the 2024 5e Evolved bandwagon, as well as support Tales of the Valiant. Now, why didn't you just call it Midgard the role-playing game? You've already got the Midgard setting. You've already got your setting. You could just, hey, this is the new official rule set for Midgard, because we've already got that setting. So just Midgard role-playing, Midgard the role-playing. Kobold Press presents the Midgard role-playing system, but instead is Tales of the Valiant. So is it going to be placed in that world, or is it going to be its own world? And again, why do I have to give you $75, $80? Well, I'm only going to get the player's handbook. I don't need a monster manual. I've got a monster manual, and I make up all my own monsters. Perhaps you've heard of them. They're over at Big Geek Emporium for $2 a pop. Link down below. So I'd only want your 5e player's handbook for Tales of the Valiant, but if you're also coming out with this core fantasy role-playing, why do I need your 5e thing? Because Everything I need is on the SRD, and it's going to cost me less, I assume. And I'm still a little confused about this whole Kickstarter thing, Kickstart playtest thing, because right now it reads like if I want to continue to playtest, I've got to sign up for your Kickstarter. So I've got to guarantee that I'm going to give you at least, I don't know. Well, let's base it upon the last time we saw anybody do this, $10. So I'm guaranteeing that no matter what, I have to give you $10 if I want to continue to playtest your product. But does that mean when the playtest is over, I receive a copy? Will my name be in the credits, or am I just filling out automatic forms like I've been doing? Because I don't want to pay for that. I've already done that, and Wizards of the Coast will let me do that for free. I mean, if my name's going to be it, if I'm going to get something for free, even if it's a freaking sticker, and my playtest response actually counts, then sure, I might be willing to chip in $5, maybe even 10. But I think most of us who did that with the Marvel Multiverse are a little leery, and that sounds a little shifty to my take. And I'm just going to close this because I'm talking about this already. Well, congratulations first, Kobold Press, for coming up for a name for your thing that already had a name and changing it from Project Black Flag to what would have made sense, Midgard role-playing system, since we already have the Midgard campaign setting. But instead, you changed it to Tales from the Valiant, so I guess it's not going to be set in the world of Midgard. It's just going to be a generic system, world-agnostic 5e adjacent system with 13 base classes: Fighter, Magic User, Cleric, Rogue, that's 4, Ranger, Barbarian, Paladin, Monk, Bard, that's 10. 11, 12, 13. What am I missing? Sorcerer, Warlock. I said Warlock. Wizard. Okay, I think 13 is too much, but whatever. Plus, you're doing the heritage thing, lineage and heritage. Well, that's better, I guess, than species. I'd only want to get the player's guide. But again, why do I need the player's guide if you're going to just make the core fantasy role-playing rules, which I've already been, and I still don't know why you just didn't call it Midgard, but whatever, it's out. You can kickstart it now. That's all I have to say about it. Hopefully they will clarify this over the weekend. I mean, it's easier to understand than anything that came out of Wizards of the Coast and their Creative Commons investors meeting that they had. So plus 5 points to Gryffindor, Kobold, for at least doing this in a very simple way. But my very small brain is still very confused. I guess we will get more news on Monday. Till then, congratulations, guys. You did it. You're only 4 months late. And, you know, Shadow Dark beat you. But, hey, maybe this will be the thing that everybody gets behind and is like, yeah, I'm excited. This is going to be my new 5e. Or maybe this is going to be a thing where people go, why do I need this? I've already got, I don't know. But at least we have news. And that's what this channel is all about. And if you appreciate this news, let me know. If you don't appreciate this news and want to hear me talk about something else, let me know. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the OG GM Adventures, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. It costs you nothing and it helps me immensely. Help me reach 2,000 subs by the end of 2023. And speaking of 2,000, did you know that I have 10 issues of Minions on a Mission available over at Big Geek Emporium only for $2 each? Why give Kobold Press $150 for their Monster Guide, where you can give me $20 and get my Monster Guides, all featuring our mascot, King Slime? Doesn't that sound exciting? Doesn't that sound like a great way to end your Friday by supporting the OG GM Adventures? I think it does. If you're interested in getting more information on this Kobold Press nonsense, their links are down below. You can also go to their Kickstarter and get notified. If you want to invest in this project, I am very curious on the whole Kickstarter playtest thing. So we will see what's going on with that. Till next time, I will talk to you later. Have a great Friday. Get off my Project Black Flag. I like Project Black Flag. I don't know why you changed the name.